We should point out that Arsenal are top of the league for now as we record this on a Monday morning. Ahead of Spurs, obviously, are playing Fulham on a Monday night.
Yeah. Still unbeaten.
Spurs, yes.
And
Spurs
Arsenal.
are still... Arsenal, yeah, okay, fine.
They're still unbeaten. It's
Really?
9 games in the season.
Did I dream that game against Lens? That was a different team?
In the league, they're unbeaten in the league.
So what? That doesn't count?
But in the league, they're unbeaten. No, they haven't lost a game in the league.
Mm-hmm.
City have lost games. Liverpool have lost games.
Okay.
Chelsea have lost games.
How many have Spurs lost?
Yeah,
Ooh,
Spurs are still unbeaten
Respect
too.
for Big Ange.
But how
Sorry,
can
I had to
is it weird for them? What
we don't talk about Spurs on the show because they're playing tonight, so I needed to give them a mention and
fair enough.
remind me. Otherwise, my Spurs fans would get on to me. All right, what strikes me about this, and you're right, they're right up there. I think right now they're really far, really, really far from where they could be, and there are mitigating circumstances. Obviously, Saka's injury, Martinelli also missed time. Then there's others who I don't think are on their level. Like I look at this game today and I saw, all right, he started Georgie in midfield.
Yeah.
Didn't necessarily have a great game. Maybe he did it. He wanted an extra passer, I assume, away from home, London derby. But if it's not Georgie, it's Havertz, who obviously has had issues too. Havertz coming on later.
Yeah.
That hasn't popped yet. Zinchenko, I thought, had a really poor first half, came off at halftime.
Yeah, it was on the yellow as well.
So what I'm wondering, so then I asked myself, okay, so Arsenal can get better when everybody's fit and clicking and fine. But then I look at this and I really wonder, are they going to get better, or is he so fixated on certain things? I'll give you an example. Mm-hmm. Zinchenko, who is an attacking midfielder playing left back, are very comfortable moving into midfield when they're on the ball, doing that whole thing with the fullback, right? He goes off at halftime, bring on Tomiyasu, and you ask Tomiyasu to do the same thing. Now, Tomiyasu is a center back who can play fullback, mostly right back.
Yeah.
Now he's playing left back, and you ask him to play in the middle. He's not Beckenbauer. I don't think Tomiyasu's ever been asked.
You don't have to be Beckenbauer to play in that position. Sometimes it's to have another body there, especially when you lose the ball. And for that, he could be good there. You don't always have your fullback coming inside to be the creative touch like Zinchenko is. You can have a different profile of a fullback coming inside as well.
Right.
Stones is not Beckenbauer either. He's probably better technically than
a much better passer than Tomiyasu.
But still, it's still not Beckenbauer.
I know. I think this is not putting somebody in their best condition, because you know what, you can say, oh, he doesn't have to be Beckenbauer, he just has to be there. You counter press when you lose the ball, you have an extra body there, an extra filter. This is fine, but at what expense? You know, you want to put players in the position where they can, I think, where they can affect the game the most, rather than having your system. And to me, this felt a little bit like putting the system first.
But then the second half is the better half from Arsenal with Tomiyasu there, no Zinchenko.
Yeah, I don't think because of Tomiyasu. It's also because Zinchenko was really bad in the first half. True. The other thing I don't get is we've seen, I think Georgie started with the last 2 games. Is that?
Yeah, City. So yeah, it was the same midfield against City.
So obviously when Jorginho's in midfield, it's a very different vibe, setup and everything than when Havertz or Fabio Vieira are there.
Yeah, because Rice doesn't play the same position.
So then you're asking Rice but Rice also doesn't do what Havertz does. I mean, he's further up. It is more of he's closer to the line where Odegaard is, but it still changes everything, right? You don't have the physical presence in front of the back four, because if Rice moves up and whatever. And so I'm thinking like, okay, so now again, you'll change your system there a little bit, and you're certainly changing personnel, and it's affecting you. But then you won't do it in other situations. I don't follow this.
I think Partey's injury, I think ideally he would play Partey in a game like this and Rice in midfield with other guards, and not Jorginho. And
or the guy he spent 80 million on, the best on earth.
Yeah, but again, you can understand what this is, and that would have been a special game, I think, for Havertz to start away at Stamford Bridge, in those conditions. But maybe he should have started him. I don't know. And I don't know if Havertz is going to work as a number 8 or not. I just think that they will improve collectively and individually as well. There's players who haven't hit the height yet, like a Martinelli, for example, or your your best friend Gabriel Jesus, who you love so dearly. Their best form compared to at times the form that they had last season, where Arsenal were better. But if you look at the same fixtures last season, and it's pointless. I know I'm contradicting myself. It's pointless. But if you still do it, I think they have as many points against those 9 teams than they did last season, albeit they haven't lost this year compared to last year where they had lost. So it's not bad. I still think it's a decent / good start of the season from them. But they will have to improve if they want to win the league, because it might not be enough if they keep playing like this.
And here's my thing: is I wonder what that path to improvement is. So because
individually and collectively.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I think some players I think have an obvious ceiling. The more I see Eddie Nketiah, the more I think this man has a ceiling. Right?
Yeah, but look, he came on for 20 minutes and he shook that defense. He could have scored a great goal. He ran in behind like that.
And the more I see Gabriel Jesus, again,
you never really liked him.
No. I like what he does, but it seems to me, I wonder to some degree, we've gone peak meta and the center has just collapsed because of all the things Gabriel Jesus does off the ball, when he's not in possession, his movement, his runs, his pressing, blah, 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 which Pep loved so much until he decided, I love it, but I don't love it to the tune of giving you a new long-term contract.
Yeah.
This trumps the other thing, which is what you actually do with the ball. And look, I'm not saying Gabriel Jesus is a poor footballer.
No.
I'm just saying, I think if you look at the top 20 teams in Europe, you look at who their center forwards are and what they provide when you're in possession, I think you're going to find most of them are going to be well ahead of what Gabriel Jesus gives you with the ball. And for a team that has so many passers, from Odegaard to Saka, people who deliver service, I think at some point, it comes back to bite you.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Maybe he should play wide more often. I don't know. Maybe you rotate him, Martinelli, and Saka. Well, Saka, I think, should probably always play. Maybe you rework it and you do a front two, something. But
maybe, yeah.
I just think the scoring load, and I know Odegaard scores a lot, and Havertz potentially can. Well, not so much.
And Trossard and Saka and Martinelli, and maybe that's what Arteta wants in terms of balance. Instead of a 130 goal a season striker who doesn't move out of the box.
I just think there is a rigidity, rigidity and belief in your ideas, right, are two sides of the same coin, right? It goes back to the old Pep. Well, plan B is to do plan A better, right? I just wonder if, there's a window of opportunity that Arsenal have, I think now, because it's a young team and so on, to go and keep growing and really challenge City.
Yeah.
And I think it's still open. I think they can challenge City this year. And Spurs and Liverpool. Let's give credit because they're all right there. Yeah. I'm just wondering if maybe you shouldn't become a little bit more pragmatic in your approach at this stage.
Maybe.
But
I thought his subs were spot on again. I think only Newcastle and Brighton this season, their subs have had more involvement in goals in the Premier League, which shows that coming off the bench, which is something that Arsenal didn't really have last season, certainly not as much. And remember last season we kept saying he plays the same 11, it's always the same 11. The same players that have to be decisive.
They have more depth, yes.
And I think that's good.